I hate the word overrepresentation. I hate it when people say people of color are overrepresented in the criminal justice system because it implies that they have done something in order to justify that number being higher than it should be. It's simply because that's where the people who have the power are looking.
You see all these videos like Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, but people will make these arguments that if only they were doing this, if only they followed directions in that situation, they wouldn't have been in that situation. But with Breonna Taylor, what should she not have been at home? So all of that completely falls apart, and it just comes back to this one thing, that is systemic racism in America has gone too far.
Andy, elders, take one.
There's a lot of focus on the cases where people die, and you understand why. The loss is so much greater, and it's that much more tragic. But we should not just be worried about how Black people die. We should be worried about how they live.
And so when we're talking about how we train police, if we look at where the police started, right? The police started by being formed to hunt runaway slaves. And even after that, they were hunting Black people that they claimed were runaway slaves. And so when we look at how we've progressed, or not progressed as it were, we are training different police officers to see crime first, as opposed to just see people in the community.
And I frankly don't think it matters what the police officer's attitude is. It's not just about a police officer's feelings, or whether he thinks he's racist or not. It's not just about training him to recognize his implicit bias. What it's about, it's eliminating the laws that allow for that implicit and explicit bias to be acted on. That's what needs to change.
I'm grateful to be alive during this period of time. I think we're in the midst of transformative change that our generation will be at the forefront of making it happen. And so this is our time, this is our place, and we will see this change, not only here in Virginia, but throughout this country.
All right, you ready? You want to switch the camera? Go ahead. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cams. Judge Carol Weimer, you are under the microscope. Now, today in this podcast is going to be my check. Is it good? All right. Today in this podcast, what we're going to do, we're going to step away from Judge Carol Weimer. We're going to take him from under the microscope, and we're going to put Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Haywood, under this microscope. Now, the reason that we're putting Brad Haywood under the microscope, we have to be transparent on this podcast. Who is Brad Haywood? What is Brad Haywood doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case? To be fair to Mustafa, we have to put Brad Haywood under the microscope. Now, Brad Haywood, it's one thing if I'm going to come on this podcast and tell you that Brad Haywood is not working for Mustafa. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say Brad Haywood is not working for Mustafa. I'm not going to say Brad Haywood is working with the prosecutor. What I'm going to do on this podcast, I'm going to let you, the community, be the deciding factor. I'm going to introduce who Brad Haywood is. What is Brad Haywood's background? How long Brad Haywood has been on Mustafa's case? And what is Brad Haywood doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case? Now, when we talk about Brad Haywood, the defense attorney, we have the transcripts from inside the court. The Department of Justice unsealed the transcript. So we get to be in the courtroom and we get to hear and listen to what Brad Haywood is telling Judge Carol Weimer, the presiding judge. We get to hear what Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is saying in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. So you no longer have to take my word for it. We can verify what this defense attorney is doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. And you, the community, is the deciding factor, whether this county brought in a defense attorney only to do the bidding of the prosecutor, of the police department. Now, in this case, in the Mustafa Aljazairi case, we have body cams and we have documents, the whole entire discovery. The body cams and the discovery that's been sealed by Commonwealth Amy Ashworth. This is a sealed case. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth 2.5 years ago sealed off the Mustafa Aljazairi case. And you ask yourself, what do they have to hide that they're sealing the Mustafa Aljazairi case? Why can't you, the community, put in a FOIA, a Freedom of Information Act, to verify what the government is telling you in the Mustafa Aljazairi case? I mean, at the end of the day, this is a case that's happening in your backyard. And if there is allegations that the county is falsifying this case, you don't just have to worry about Mustafa. You could be next. Because the next time you call 911, you could have those police officers respond to your situation. And if you're talking about a police officer that crushed and staged Mustafa's vehicle, you're talking about a police officer that crushed and staged Mustafa's vehicle. We have pictures of the vehicle at the scene after the accident, and we have pictures of Mustafa's vehicle inside the police department. It's completely crushed, and they don't have a reason good enough why they crushed it. As a matter of fact, that the reason that they give, it implicates the police department that they crushed and staged Mustafa's car. Now, let's back up a little bit and give an introduction into what is the Mustafa Aljazairi case. Mustafa Aljazairi gets in a vehicle accident 2.5 years ago. Mustafa loses his girlfriend in the vehicle, loses her 5-year-old baby in the vehicle. That's how bad the vehicle accident was. Mustafa was in a coma. Mustafa gets helicoptered to the hospital. When Mustafa wakes up out of a coma, you have his statements gets falsified, the vehicle crushed and staged, the dash camera. He has a dash camera inside his car. Explain to me, in what world can an officer take your dash camera without a warrant, take it back to his vehicle, cuts it, mutes it, and now you have a dash camera that's cut and muted. I think there is static. There we go. That was good. They take Mustafa's dash camera, cut and mute that dash camera. Children. His girlfriend has a 9, a 10, a 14, a 16. The police department takes the children, sits down with them, lie to the children, paints Mustafa as a horrible human being. They tell the children, Mustafa killed your mother. Mustafa ran away, left your 5-year-old baby sister to bleed to death. And if it wasn't for Mustafa running away, we, the police, could have saved your 5-year-old baby sister. Wait a minute, Mustafa was in a coma. What are you doing lying to a 9, a 10, a 14, and a 16? They weaponized the children against Mustafa. We have evidence, Google Nest videos, that the police department is terrified. That prosecutor Sarah Sammy, prosecutor Stephanie Buck, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth is terrified that now we have the Google Nest videos inside the apartment that shows before the police made contact with those children, the police loved Mustafa. Children that loved, that Mustafa is a father figure in those children's life. What are you doing weaponizing the children? Now, this is the introduction into this case. This is a car accident. It shows that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. They tell you Mustafa is arguing inside the car. But when I watch the dash camera, it shows that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a cigarette 6 times. And the way Dorothy feels Mustafa's fingers as she takes that cigarette. Wait a minute. They charged Mustafa with a DUI manslaughter on day 1. Wait a minute. Don't I have a toxicology that shows Mustafa's blood level, no alcohol and no drugs? And what they were smoking inside the car is hemp. Dorothy has cancer. Because of her pain, she smokes hemp. And this is the foundation of the case. And that's why they sealed the dash camera from the community. Because now when you watch the dash camera, you see that there is no argument inside the car. As a matter of fact, Dorothy and Mustafa are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette. The prosecution is terrified. that this file is unsealed and is leaked all over the internet. That you get to see the dash camera, you get to see the police, you get to see the police body cams, you get to see the documents that they hid from you. Google this video on his phone that police already have. We have transcripts in the courts that Blake Weiner, Mustafa, previous defense attorney, admit to Judge Carol Weimer that Mustafa's Google Nest video, the full dash camera, before the police got to editing and muting and removing the audio. Apparently, Mustafa's dash camera is so sophisticated that it has an app on his cell phone that when they did a cell phone dump, even though one of the officers cut and muted it, it's on Mustafa's cell phone. And they have it, and they've hid it for 2.5 years. The Google Nest video, there's an app where the Google Nest days on days that shows how beautiful the relationship is on his cell phone. They're in possession of it. And the minute that you ask Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense attorney, Mustafa's current defense attorney, hey, Brad Haywood, your client is asking, Mustafa is asking you to take that flash drive that the county gave you, the cell phone dump. Can you go through that flash drive with Mustafa? Brad Haywood completely changes into a whole different person. There's pushback, and all of a sudden he puts in a motion. He says, my client is innocent, but I have to withdraw from the case. And he wants to withdraw from the case. Now, I want to introduce Mohammed for being here. Mohammed, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what we're going to do today, we're going to put Brad Haywood under the microscope, and we're not going to say that he's working for the prosecutor, he's working against his client, he's doing the bidding, he's protecting the police department that falsified the Mustafa. What we're going to do, we have the transcript, we have what Brad said in court, what Brad is doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case.
We're going to analyze his actions.
We're going to analyze his actions. As a matter of fact, we're going to take a step back, and I did a lot of digging into Brad. The video that we opened this podcast with, did you know that Brad has a civil rights organization?
Interesting.
Wait a minute. Brad Haywood says that my client, Mustafa Aljazairi, was beaten up in this jail behind me. This is Prince William County Adult Detention Center here in Virginia. Mustafa is seen on CCTV video to be carried unconscious, half naked, from one cell into another cell. Mohammed, do me a favor. Go over to exhibits. I want to pull a CCTV video that shows Mustafa.
I was the first one to ever join the military in my family. When I got out,
get rid of this ad. There we go. This is a CCTV video that shows Mustafa on May 24, 2023, get carried unconscious. 6 giant correctional guards enter Mustafa's cell. One of the correctional officers already had his taser out. He goes in. You have a correctional officer that they barge into Mustafa's cell. They beat Mustafa inside the jail. They drag him unconscious from one cell into another, half naked. And then they began beating him in the other cell. Now, when I read the internal notes, you know, it's interesting that Lieutenant Kepler with Internal Affairs says Mustafa was not cooperating inside the cell, the first cell. He's cooperating down the steps, and he's not cooperating in the other cell. You want to tell me? They tell you he's not unconscious. That Mustafa walked and he's
literally floating. They're carrying him.
They say that nothing happened to Mustafa. That Mustafa was cooperating and he walked down. So you're telling me that he's not cooperating inside the first cell.
But on camera, he's cooperating.
But he's on camera.
When he's unconscious.
When he's limped over and his feet is barely touching the ground, he's cooperating there. I mean, if you're going to lie to me, I mean, this is literally the internal notes. Now,
internal notes that you were never supposed to see.
Internal notes that I'm not supposed to see.
You also have communication with the FBI.
The FBI was involved. The DOJ, through the DOJ, the FBI was involved. And they're literally telling us one thing, but the internal notes says something completely different. I mean, you have communication with the FBI.
I sure do.
Special Agent Lindsay Coulter, Samantha Adam, Supervisor Special Agent Huckle.
I have a lot of communications with them.
Internal notes. They're internal notes.
The problem with these communications is, they're telling me one thing. Now that I have the internal files from the jail and the communication with the FBI.
Let me get rid of this ad.
Just because they're identical doesn't mean they have identical.
What I was going to say is that it doesn't look good.
The manager of an auto repair shop.
It doesn't look good for the FBI. And what I mean by that
let me before you go into really quick, I just want to get to this part.
Well, I'll just say, they're saying one thing to me. They're telling the family one thing, but behind closed doors, they are reassuring the jail. They're reassuring the jail leadership that they're not under investigation, but they're telling me something different, completely different. I mean, we can match up the dates. We can match up the dates to the letter that was sent to the Office of Professional Standards at the jail, okay? And we can see what the FBI was requesting from the jail and what they were saying to me. I mean, I met with the special agent twice at the field office here in Manassas, and she came to our home once. I find it also very interesting that I remember when I spoke to her when she came home, I gave her a flash drive with Google Nest videos, and she was telling me, just remember, at the end of the day, your brother is being criminally charged. So anything you give me, I have to forward to the Commonwealth attorney. And I said, yeah, of course, sure. Here are the Google Nest videos. Here's Google Nest videos. Here's videos from the apartment that night.
So you gave Special Agent Lindsay Coulter with the FBI the Google days on days files of Google Nest videos inside the apartment.
I did.
So let me ask you a question. When I finally get to access the police department server, evidence.com, Mustafa's file, why is it that nowhere in Mustafa's file is the Google Nest videos?
It's like they never even mentioned that these videos exist. I mean, you're talking about police taking over the apartment where they look over everything. There's light bulb cameras in the apartment. There's Google Nest that are on his phone, by the way, because think about it. Every time that Mustafa and Dorothy would leave, the children would communicate through that Google Nest. They would simply walk up to the camera and they would say something, and then Mustafa and Dorothy would both get notifications that there's a new video, and then Alexa would transcribe what the kids are saying. So there's not only a Google Nest video that is sent to Mustafa's phone, but there's also an Alexa transcript of everything that was said inside the apartment, and that was sent to Mustafa's phone. And we know this exists, by the way.
Okay,
we know that exists because Blake Weiner, on the record in a transcript, tells Judge Weimer that he sent the hard drive to Elaine Jarvis, which contains dash cam footage from that day. It contains Google Nest videos. It contains other information that's very relevant here because the prosecutor is making allegations. I mean, the first thing she said when Mustafa was first arrested, that Monday, his first appearance, she said Mustafa and Dorothy were arguing as they're leaving the apartment. And actually, I have a video that I've never shared before, but I have a video where I went to the apartment complex that day after court, and I knocked on doors. I asked neighbors downstairs, and I have it all recorded, okay? And people are telling me a different story. They're saying, and by the way, this is before we discovered these Google Nest videos, before we were able to get a hold of them. I asked neighbors, and I have recordings of neighbors telling me there was no argument. Nobody was arguing, okay? I said, well, the prosecutor is specifically stating in court that Mustafa and Dorothy were arguing. And by the way, you can see
there's a Google Nest video inside the apartment, days on days, that shows you there's no argument, and it's a beautiful relationship. Now, we're going to...
Not only that, but Mustafa is cleaning Dorothy's seat before she gets to the car. You can see from the dash cam that Mustafa gets to the car. He's cleaning her seat before she arrives to the car. Now, if Prosecutor Sammy is saying that Mustafa took Dorothy against her will, he arrived at the car before her. So she got into the car willingly and voluntarily.
She's not saying that anymore.
Well, of course, because not anymore.
Day one, she said that, and then all of a sudden, the Google Nest videos are all over the internet.
Amar, the prosecutor's narrative.
She can no longer. She can no longer say that.
The narrative has shifted so many. I mean, it has transformed so many times to where now today, 2.5 years later, not the community, not Mustafa, not us, not even the lawyer, we don't know what he's being accused of. We don't know what the official prosecutor's narrative is. Nobody knows.
So
nobody knows.
So we're gonna take a step back and we're gonna ask a question. We talked about a CCTV video that we just watched where Mustafa, and I want to go back to, if you can do me a favor, if you can go back to exhibits. This is a video where Mustafa is getting carried unconscious by 6 giant correctional officers. They beat him in one cell, drag him unconscious, half naked into another cell, and carry him into another cell and beat him and abuse him in the second cell. Now, the question is, Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Haywood, who has a civil rights organization here in Virginia, not once did he
advocate for Mustafa.
I mean, you have an outlet, you have a media outlet, you have a civil rights organization. You're on YouTube, you're on Twitter, you're on... Not once did you say, my client...
has been abused.
I have a CCTV video that my client has been beaten and abused inside the jail. He never came out and said that. And, I mean, this is Mustafa. But Brad Haywood, behind closed doors, he says, my client is innocent. My client was beaten up inside Prince William County Adult Detention Center. Wait a minute, don't you have a civil rights organization? Not once did you fight for Mustafa. I mean, wait a minute, you're telling me that your client gets beaten up inside the jail. You don't know what kind of injuries he has. We have pictures that Mustafa's head is swollen. His arm is 3 times the size of a normal arm. This is a solitary confined inmate. Gets beaten up on CCTV video, get carried unconscious. You don't think to send in medical to see if how are those injuries healing? Does he have compounding injuries that are healing improperly? Is that why he's in constant pain? Did you not once did you send in a medical physician to check on your client? You've been Mustafa's defense attorney for a whole entire year. And my question is, are you here to protect Mustafa? Are you working for Mustafa? Or are you doing the bidding of the prosecutor? Now, the more we go into this conversation and talk about what Brad Haywood is doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case, you're not going to need me to tell you that this defense attorney is not working for Mustafa. His actions show that he's here to patch up this case for the prosecution, for the police department that falsified this whole entire case. Now, Mustafa gets beaten up inside the jail. Not once did he talk about it. Mustafa's hard drive, there's a cell phone dump that's been done by the police department. The prosecutor, Sarah Sammy, shipped a 1 terabyte flash drive, a
separate hard drive, away from all the discovery material.
She sent it to Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense attorney. And when Mustafa asked Brad Haywood, I need to go through my hard drive, I'm being charged with murder, my due process has been violated for 2.5 years, no one is letting me review the evidence, there's a pushback.
I mean, he literally told him, you are not allowed to look at the evidence.
Why is Mustafa not allowed to look into his cell phone dump?
That's not what he said in court. He changed his tune in court.
In court, he said, I never said that. Wait a minute. I had a phone call with Brad Haywood. I had a very specific phone. I have a lot of phone calls. Look.
It's not a secret, Amar.
It's not a secret. Look, Brad Haywood, after the Brady motion, completely changed. Is a different person. I had a great relationship with Brad Haywood. The family, and when I say the family had a great relationship with Brad, we have meetings with Brad Haywood. We're on the phone call where we call Brad Haywood, and we're having a lot of conversations.
He answers questions.
He answers questions.
He sets expectations.
I have a lot of text messages with Brad Haywood. I mean,
what changed?
What changed after the Brady motion? Now, when you look at the filing, I found that there was a ex parte conversation, motion session that took place in court.
That's right.
2 sessions. Now,
2 sessions in court. Ex parte.
Ex parte. Okay. Now, all of a sudden, when I talk to Brad, he tells me, I talked to the prosecutor
He had a meeting with the
He
prosecutor.
had a meeting with the prosecutor, and all of a sudden he wants to do things a little bit different.
Not a little bit, actually.
A lot different.
180 degrees.
180
like,
degrees.
Let's not,
okay. All right.
Let's not sugarcoat it.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
He flipped 180 degrees.
100%. I mean, and it sure sounds that there is a deal that he struck with the prosecutor.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, he's not telling us what the deal is, but from what he wants to do, we can kind of figure out what the deal is.
Exactly. And his problem is, I made a deal with the prosecutor. I'm not going to tell you what the deal is, not you or Mustafa. You're just going to have to blindly follow me, okay? And that's a dangerous path for a defense lawyer to take. Follow me blindly. I'm not going to give you the information. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, okay? I'm making backdoor deals with the prosecutor, okay? And you need to just blindly follow me, or I'm withdrawing.
How is it fair for Mustafa that
It's
his
not.
defense attorney is making and striking a deal, a plea deal? That's a plea deal.
It's a plea deal.
Without Mustafa's consent, without sitting down with Mustafa, without Mustafa okaying this plea deal. Mustafa never said okay. But you have this defense attorney striking a deal with the prosecutor to convict Mustafa on manslaughter.
Look,
that's what he's doing, by the way.
Look, this
if
lawyer.
you listen to what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. By the way, Mustafa is being charged with murder. Evidence show that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident.
Despite
and the reason,
there being brake failure. According to the police, by the way.
The police inspected Mustafa's vehicle and found brake failure. That Mustafa's foot, the computer inside the vehicle showed that Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. The dash camera showed that he avoided every vehicle. The steering angle showed that he's steering away from the vehicles.
And that the other vehicle never hit the brake.
And the other vehicle never hit the brake.
Attention. Let's be honest. She wasn't paying attention. And she turned into him.
He clears all the vehicle, makes it into the fourth lane, and the SUV turned into Mustafa into the fourth lane. Wait a minute. Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. The police inspected Mustafa's vehicle. Even though Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time, there's brake failure. The vehicle would not stop.
Look, let's pause for a little bit. Okay, let's pause for a little bit. Today we're talking about what happened to Brad Haywood. By the way, we say, like, we're analyzing what he's doing. We're saying he turned 180 degrees all of a sudden. But, I would say he was like that from the beginning. And I'll tell you why. Because when he first signed on to this case, he agreed to waive Mustafa's right to a speedy trial.
Without Mustafa's consent.
Without Mustafa's consent. Now you have a document today that was recently unsealed, where he basically says that he consoled with the defendant, Mustafa, and that they both came to the agreement that Mustafa waived his right to a speedy trial, which is not true because actually there's a letter on the record.
Do you know which page the letter is? I have the file here.
Look, you can post it later.
We can post it later.
Afterwards, but there's a letter that says he consoled with Mustafa. And Mustafa specifically said, he never shared that information with me. And that's what he does in court. He takes the documents and he takes them away from Mustafa. He doesn't want to give him anything. He doesn't want to show him. Matter of fact, even the latest Brady motion that he filed, I mean, you could say all you want in court. You can look great saying things against the police, but it's going to come down to the order that was agreed upon between prosecutor and the defense attorney.
You retracted all of it.
What was the order? And you don't want to share it with Mustafa.
He
does not want to share it.
He retracted the most important thing. He was going to probe into the missing body cams, what the police done in this case. I mean, you have a police department. You have officer that falsified, and there's a bias.
Let's be real.
They botched up. And now he's not even looking into it. So you say that you're going to get the body cams, get evidence that this police department falsified the whole thing. All of a sudden, you say, I don't want it.
Look, to Brad's defense, he's being put in a very, very difficult situation, okay? And I'll tell you why. Because we know the medical examiner report is falsified. Medical examiner, that's the assistant chief medical examiner of Virginia.
The medical report is falsified.
That's Gene Xavier Maya, who signed off on this falsified medical examiner. He falsified it. Okay.
Now, when you say falsified, what do you mean falsified then?
He ruled the death of Dorothy and Empress as a homicide because he states the specific reason why he ruled it as a homicide is because He's claiming that the dash cam shows Dorothy was protesting as Mustafa takes the car into oncoming traffic. And that is a lie. That's what Drum's narrative was.
What do you mean? We have the dash camera, and you see that Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette.
Again,
there is no argument inside the car. They're sharing a cigarette. So where is this medical examiner getting that Dorothy is protesting?
That's the falsified portion. He falsified the disposition of this medical examiner report.
I mean, according to
homicide.
According to the medical examiner, this is an open shut case. We don't even have to go to trial. Let's just convict Mustafa based on what the medical examiner says.
The problem here is that,
I mean, do you see what I'm saying here?
It's not up to the medical examiner to disposition this based on dash cam. Your job is, as a medical examiner, is to inspect or do an autopsy on the body and write down what the cause of death was. For you to say homicide because the passenger was protesting, which is a lie, that's a falsified report. Hold on. Let's go back to why.
Not once did Brad Haywood bring this up.
He never argued it, by the way. He never argued it. He never disputed it, okay? And this is why I'm saying Brad is being put in a very difficult situation. So you have a falsified medical examiner report. You have tons of officers, by the way, tons of officers, multiple, who falsified, who tampered with Mustafa's dash camera, destroyed his car, like Rob Davis, tampered with his dash cam, Chad Mason, Robert Drum, who falsified not only the warrant, but falsified Mustafa's statements and falsified other information and tampered with witness statements. That's 3 officers that I just listed to you. Casey Fines, who put this narrative in bias from day one, saying that from the moment Mustafa was on the scene, he says this is a known drug user with nothing to support that, okay? You have Rob Sermon, who says he did something inappropriate to the car when Rob Davis asked him. And then Rob Davis says he has an idea to employ about this case, but it's going to cost them spending money. So you have all this misconduct. Okay?
You have a vehicle crushed and staged by the police department.
Let me continue. Look,
yeah.
And then you have internal affairs of Prince William County Police, like Brandon Dudley, and what's his name? The other one that we complained
Sean
to.
Shelton.
Sean Shelton, Lieutenant Gary Spina. These people were tasked with investigating this case, these officers, okay? And they dropped the ball because you have the internal files. It shows they did nothing about it. So Brad Haywood is being put in a very difficult situation. You're asking him to go against the police department. And by the way, you have prosecutors who flat out lied on the record, like Sarah Sammy, Stephanie Buck. You have people that blocked a inspection of a vehicle. You have people like Sarah Sammy, who, according to Chad Mason, she instructed the police to say there's no audio on this dash cam, when digital forensics, Kathy Zyman says it does have audio. Okay, but Sarah Sammy is instructing the police to say there's no audio. Okay, so here we go. You have the prosecutor, the medical examiner, and the police department, and a couple of other agencies probably that are involved in this case, okay? And we're asking him to basically throw all these people under the bus.
We're not asking him to do anything.
Last
time I checked, Brad Haywood...
He's being tasked.
Brad Haywood's been sitting on Mustafa's case for a whole entire year.
Well,
you think Brad Haywood doesn't know what he's walking into?
I don't think he knew in the beginning, but
What do you mean? This case... Wait, hold on now. This case, these body cams are all over the internet.
They are all over the internet, but I'm saying today. I mean, I'm talking about the meeting he had with Sarah Sammy. I mean, just imagine that meeting where she's telling him, Brad, you know if you go and get that audio from the dash camera, you know if you re-inspect this dash camera, do you know how many officers are going to get in trouble? They're going to be looking at probably jail time, like federal crimes being committed, let alone internal affairs who covered up for them. The chief of police, I mean, they went all the way up to the chief of police, okay? And Brad, you really want to do that for Mustafa? You're going to make this man walk, and you're going to get all these officers who've been serving for over 10, 15, some 20 years and are getting ready to retire. You're going to just put them out there like that? The assistant chief medical examiner of Virginia, you're going to make him look like a liar? Are you really going to do that, Brad? Or, I mean, you're starting a business, aren't you? Okay? You're going to get clients. Do you really think that if you bring out this dash cam audio and you show that the police lied, you reconstruct this car accident and show that this was an accident, and you bring the evidence to it, okay? Do you know how many families you're going to ruin inside the police department? Do you know how many people's lives are going to get ruined? And you're going to do that for Mustafa? Do you think if you do that, you're ever going to get another plea deal for another client? You think a prosecutor is going to want to work with you on another client? I mean, you can kiss your career goodbye, okay? And Brad all of a sudden decides, you know what, you're right. I have a business, I have a life that's going to go on after Mustafa, okay? It's going to go on after Mustafa. And every prosecutor, every police officer is going to look at me like I'm the one that destroyed that police department. I'm the one that destroyed that medical examiner. I'm the one that destroyed this prosecutor's office, okay? And I'm being tasked to just look away. I'm being asked to look away, okay?
Well, he's not completely looking away.
He gave the money. He gave the money for the inspection of Mustafa's SD card to the prosecutor.
What he's doing, he's cutting a plea deal on Mustafa's behalf without getting Mustafa to okay that plea deal.
He's literally building he's building a profile for himself to be Casey Stevens 2.0.
So Brad Haywood was a public defender, and he makes it all the way to be the top public defender in the Alexandria office.
And I'm not going to lie. Was he threatened?
Now, let me ask you this.
Was he threatened?
Brad Haywood.
It's a tough position to be in.
It's a very tough position to be in. Was Brad Haywood threatened into...
I mean, you have a lot of agencies looking at you. Prosecutor, medical examiner, the state police, the Prince William County Police, the City of Manassas Police. So, everybody's looking at you. All eyes on you.
So let's take a step back. Okay, so Brad Haywood puts in a Brady motion, okay? And he's asking for the missing body cam. There's evidence that body cams are redacted, edited, and muted in this file. And you can see it all over the file, the police department. They cut and muted and edited body cams before they put them in the server, upload them to evidence.com, the police department server. And we have evidence. Now that I have the file, I have evidence that this file is redacted before it's uploaded to Mustafa's file, to the server. Now, Brad Haywood puts in a Brady motion, and the judge orders Sarah Sammy to hand over all of it to Brad Haywood. And then Judge Carol Weimer, the presiding judge, orders that Mustafa's vehicle get reconstructed. The accident gets reconstructed. And the government paid Mustafa's defense attorney for an independent expert to reconstruct this vehicle accident.
This is at the end of September. It was supposed to be done.
Exactly. Judge Weimer, I have a transcript where he specifically said, I need it done by the end of September. It's in the transcript.
We're in November now, by the way.
Okay, and then Judge Weimer also ordered the extraction of the full dash camera and the audio off of the SD card that's in the dash camera that the police department has.
That's what Judge Weimer ordered.
That's what Judge Weimer ordered.
What did Prosecutor Sammy say at the time?
At the time, in the beginning, she objected.
She objected in the beginning.
In the beginning.
But once he granted that money.
Once he granted the motion, she said, Your Honor, I need to have my independent expert also there. We need to extract the full dash camera and the audio.
And she was very adamant and aggressive about it.
Of course.
That she was not going to let this go.
Of course.
She's not going to let Brad bring in his investigator, and she's not going to hire her investigator.
Exactly.
Okay.
So all of a sudden...
And there was no talks about a lip reader.
That lip reader is gone. They don't want to even talk about lip reader.
There was no talk of a lip reader during that motion. No talks at all.
So that's the Brady motion. And then all of a sudden, an ex parte motion is held. Two of them is held. And I called Brad Haywood, and Brad Haywood is completely different. He changed. He's a completely different person.
He's not giving honest answers.
He's not.
He's running away from the question.
Now, I asked him about the reconstruction. He hasn't done it. He doesn't have an expert, and he hasn't done it. And he's not even talking about doing it anytime soon. He's like, in February, we'll do it. Well, the trial is in March.
You're talking about the reconstruction.
The reconstruction of the vehicle.
But the audio of the dash cam.
He said that he already has his independent expert already went in.
Already did it.
Already did it.
Last week.
Now, Brad Haywood was also telling me that his expert already went in, and he's waiting for the prosecutor expert to go in. And I'm telling him, and he's talking about that we have to have precaution to make sure that the officer doesn't taint the expert.
But the bottom line is...
The bottom line, his expert already went in.
His expert went in or was going in the following week.
Why am I finding in court
3 days ago?
3 days ago that he never had his expert go in.
And he never intends on bringing an expert.
And he never intend on bringing an expert. And instead, he's telling Judge Weimer, Your Honor, since the prosecutor independent expert is going in, I'm just going to rely on her independent expert. Wait a minute. Judge Weimer, to his defense, he said, is that not a conflict of interest? You're talking about a police... In your own motion, in your own Brady motion, you said the police department falsified my client case. There's a bias. Officers tainted and blocked the reconstruction.
And they're hiding the dash
And they're
cam with
hiding
the
the
audio.
dash camera with the audio. This is your own motion. How are you... This is a conflict of interest that you're going to depend on the prosecution independent expert. That's what Judge Weimer said on the record. Now, Brad Haywood says... Your Honor, that's okay. There is no conflict of interest. I'm going to rely on her. And Judge Weimer's like, are you telling me that you don't need an expert? So why did I give you
Why
money?
did I give you the money?
What are you going to do with the money? He says, Your Honor, I'm going to just put it back into the case. Wait a minute. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy gets up. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy gets up. She says, Your Honor, we don't have, we weren't planning on hiring our independent expert. We don't even have money for an independent expert. I didn't even put in a motion for funds
But that's not
for
what
the
she
independent
said.
expert.
That's not what she said
That's
in
not-
that Brady motion.
That's not what she said. She was so adamant about bringing in her independent
And
expert.
now
And-
she says she no longer wants to bring an expert. Not only that, but she's reintroducing the lip reader theory.
Get to the... I'll tell you... I'll get... Oh, yeah, now she's talking about a lip reader. I'll get to the best part. The best part is Brad Haywood gets up and he said, Your Honor, I can take that money that you gave me for my independent expert and I can give it to the prosecutor and have for her independent expert. In what world does that not show that this defense attorney is compromised?
100%.
I mean, you're gonna... Okay, wait. I'm gonna play a video for you.
Last week you accused them of lying, and now you're giving them money to bring out the information they've been lying about?
How? In a Brady motion, you're arguing, you're saying, Officer
He literally
Robert
got played.
Drum...
He got played by the prosecutor.
Look, you know what's really... I mean, he's patching up this case for the prosecutor. I mean, so when I talked to him on the phone, this is what he told me. I'm telling him, Brad, where is the reconstruction of the vehicle? He's like, oh, we haven't done it, blah, 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 blah. Well, we'll do it in February. I'm like, Brad, March is a trial. I'm like, okay.
The judge gave them money and the order. What are you waiting for?
In September. Now, I'm asking him, where is the independent expert for the extraction of the dash camera and the audio? He says, well, my independent expert already went in. Wait a minute. All right, so where are the results? He's like, I have to check the email.
Maybe they're in my emails.
Maybe in my email. Look, and then he's telling me,
That's
I
so
want to
odd,
bring
by the way.
in.
So odd.
He's like,
They're
he's
in
like,
my emails?
and then he's telling me, I want to bring in Dr. Specker and have her sit down with Mustafa. It is really important that I have to have. The first thing we have to do is bring in Dr. Specker. And I'm thinking,
Why?
I'm like, Brad, that doesn't even make sense. Dr. Specker already wrote an affidavit for Mustafa that she reviewed the dash camera, that she watched the dash camera, reviewed the evidence, and Mustafa's reaction is consistent with someone that's avoiding the vehicle and reacting to a vehicle accident. Okay?
Okay.
So why do you need her to go back in? And why is the government giving you $20,000 for Dr. Specker to go back in? And wait a minute, why is the prosecutor putting in a lemonade motion that she wants to
They're both
remove?
agreeing.
They're both agreeing. They want to remove the affidavit. They want to remove the affidavit of Dr. Specker, remove it off the file, and have her come in for something else. And they want to say, and he said, I want to bring her in so she can write Mustafa off as incompetent. What?
Wow.
What the fuck are you talking about? You want to remove the affidavit that she says this is a car accident, and you want to bring her in and says, oh, my client has ADHD, and the reason that this accident happened is because of ADHD?
So
what are you talking about?
You want to tell me an officer falsifying the report, putting you in jail for 2.5 years, a prosecutor that constantly lies about you, hides your dash camera, hides your Google Nest videos, hides your hard drive, your phone data, your text messages with Dorothy, all the information, falsify the warrant, falsify witness testimony. And then you want to say, oh, this guy's not right for asking
He's
questions.
not doing the reconstruction of the vehicle accident. He's not extracting the SD card. He literally took the money, gave it, and pissed it away to the prosecutor, independent expert. So he's not doing the extraction. He's not doing the reconstruction of the vehicle. So he's not getting the dash camera and the audio. He's not reconstructing the vehicle. Instead, you want to bring in the same psychiatrist that says your client this is an accident. I've watched the dash cam. You want to remove it. You want to agree with the prosecutor to remove it and bring in that same psychiatrist and tell her, pay her $20,000 just to have her say, your client is crazy. Wait a minute. If I didn't think any better, you cut a deal with the prosecutor that you want to bring it down from murder to manslaughter, and you agreed this with the prosecutor, and you cut a deal behind Mustafa's back. And in what world, we're asking, in what world is it okay for a defense attorney to avoid all the evidence to protect the police department? Because once you say Mustafa's crazy, you don't have to worry about Robert Drum falsifying Mustafa's police report. That's right. You don't have to worry about the police department crushing and staging Mustafa's vehicle. You don't have to worry about the police department weaponizing a 9, a 10, a 14 against Mustafa. You don't have to worry about beating him up in jail because whatever he says, oh, this guy is crazy. So,
unbelievable.
So what you said earlier, when they brought him into the police department, when they brought Mustafa's defense attorney into the police department, you have what? Internal Affairs, Brandon Doodley. You have Chief of Police, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy,
Amy Ashworth,
Commonwealth Amy Ashworth,
Board of Supervisors. They have the whole county
and they
sitting
tell
there.
him, Brad,
look at all these agencies around you.
You have a new practice that you just started. You have a civil rights organization that you're building up in front of this community. Now, is Mustafa worth taking out this whole police department? I mean, evidence show, and yeah, you have evidence that we falsified a whole entire case.
Amar, they told
But
him,
is this Mustafa worth it?
do you want to be Elaine Jarvis or do you want to be Casey Stevens? Which side do you want? You want to be carried out of here in a stretcher? Or you want to be able to drive drunk, crash your car, flee the scene, assault a woman inside the courthouse, and be able to just walk with no consequences? What would you rather have? You want to be carried out of here in a stretcher? Or do you want to be Casey Stevens 2.0?
By the way,
which one do you want?
When you're tuning in to this podcast, this is not my word against Brad, Mustafa's defense attorney.
It's obvious what.
I mean, I have
which
to
side
be fair.
Brad is, where he's going.
I have to be fair to Brad. I have to be fair to Mustafa. I'm simply reporting on the Mustafa Aljazairi case. Based on the transcript that's now been unsealed by the DOJ, we can verify what is Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense attorney, action show that he's doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi. Is he compromised? You can verify that yourself. Did he take the $10,000 and instead of hiring his independent expert, did he not give that money to the prosecutor independent expert? And how does that make sense when he's literally accusing the police department of being biased?
He's accusing the prosecutor of withholding exculpatory information.
How does that make any sense? Someone, for the love of God, explain that to me.
You know what Sarah Sammy said after he said he's going to give her the money?
Oh, now she wants to lip read.
You know what she says? She specifically said, Your Honor, I don't think we're going to find any exculpatory information in that dash cam. She's already saying what they've told Doug to say. Doug's going to come in, by the way. Like, if you think Doug or whoever, this former FBI agent who does expert analysis, if you think he's going to come in and inspect the dash camera and say, I got the video and the audio. Beat that, police department.
Well, hold on now.
Here it is. If you think he's going to do that, I mean, you're in La La Land.
Well,
okay?
let's look at the police department and how the police department had treated the Mustafa Aljazairi case. I have a specific body cam where we have Officer Robert Drum speaking to the company that manufactured Mustafa's dash camera. Rexon. And let's find out if this police department is biased against Mustafa, and if the police department is biased, how is Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense attorney, taking the money that the government gave him to hire his independent expert? Instead, he's giving this money to the prosecution independent expert. If the police department already show that they're biased, how does that make sense? Specifically, when Brad Haywood is arguing this exact point in a Brady motion that Officer Robert Drum is biased and is painting Mustafa and as a monster to an individual that who's supposed
who works
to
for a Dashcam company.
You're supposed to. You're calling the company for a reason.
Tech support.
Tech support. You want to get to the bottom of this Dashcam. I found it interesting that Robert Drum never asked about the audio.
But he's brainwashing the tech.
If I bring you in, can you testify and help us get this monster off the street?
What?
What are you talking about?
This guy works for the Dashcam company. He has nothing to do with Mustafa. For you to tell him this guy intentionally killed his girlfriend and he's trying to get away with it, and we need your help to convict him. We need you, Rexing Tech Support, whatever your name is, but we need you. Your job is to ask about the audio. That's what you were supposed to call him about. Instead, he's calling him basically trying to say, hey, are you on board with convicting this guy? I'm not interested in the audio. I'm not really interested in anything. I just want to know, if you come on board, will you support our narrative? Is that we're going to say there's no audio and there's no way to get it. Can you testify to that? But let me tell you how bad this person is before you say yes or no.
And the question is, how is Brad Haywood, knowing this information, knowing that this police department, this prosecutor is biased against Mustafa, they're not interested in finding out the truth. They're not. Instead, they have a bias against Mustafa. A white girl and her baby died. They don't care that this is a car accident. They don't care. I mean, listen to what I'm telling you. You want to talk about racism in Prince William County? A Mustafa lived. This is a car accident. A white woman and a 5-year-old baby died. They don't care that this is a car accident. They don't care that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. They don't care that Mustafa did everything he can to save his family.
They don't care about the truth.
They don't care about the truth. Instead, they want to get Mustafa regardless. They want to get Mustafa however they can get Mustafa. As long as they can get Mustafa. I mean, let's listen to you. And then you have Brad Haywood literally take the money and give it to the prosecution to have her independent expert. The prosecutor that's been hiding the audio in the dash camera for 2.5 years.
Even the judge was shocked.
Make sense? Even the judge was shocked.
Even Judge Weimer said, are you giving your money to the prosecutor? He's like, and by the way, I just want to let you know, if you do that, you can't come back to me later and ask for more money and tell me that you disagree with this expert, that the prosecutor talked to them or she changed them or whatever. He says, you can't do that anymore. I'm giving you a heads up right now. If you take that money and you give it to the prosecutor, you will no longer be able to bring in an expert to testify against your expert, because that's the expert you're choosing. And you chose the prosecutor's expert.
Let's watch this body cam, and so that we're all on the same page. Let's watch this body cam. This is Robert Drum talking to the company that manufacture the Mustafa's Dashcam.
Rexing USA out of New Jersey.
And let's find out if there's a bias against Mustafa.
That I've been a cop for 18 years, and it drives me crazy, some of these things that we have to jump through, but everybody has their day, so I guess that should be good enough for now, and I will tell my Commonwealth attorney. Are you the guy that I'm going to be talking to if this comes to I need somebody for court?
I'd have to talk to my boss about that. Honestly, I'm not sure. We've never really had any situations like this in the past. So I'm not sure how that would work. So I'd have to speak to my boss and let him know what's going on so that he's aware. And I guess wait for him to approve of anything before proceeding.
So, like I said, my goal through all of this is that the conversation that we're having now should be good enough to tell the CA that this is how this works. But there are some times that the defense likes to make us jump through loopholes. Any weak argument to and they're not wrong, especially when it comes to somebody being able to look at their accuser in court. Well, the accuser in this case, unfortunately, is a camera, and the courts need to know how the camera works and why the camera's working a certain way. And I'll make the phone call today. Is this a good number I can call you back on?
Yeah, this is my direct line. I'm available until, you can call me until like 5:30-ish.
Yeah, it probably won't be today. I'll see. We'll try and correspond via email. Is it the email that I just been sending you back on? Is that good to go?
That's my email too. The one that I responded to. Yes, that's my email. So if anything, you can call this number, leave a voicemail, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Or just send me an email like, hey John, I called you. Can you give me a call back? Whatever. That's fine. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So,
awesome. Well, thank you very much for reaching out and giving me a phone call.
Absolutely.
They said it's unfortunate that this is the world that we live in and that we have to go down this route. But I'll put it this way: without your camera, we wouldn't have been able to take this guy off the streets. It just would have been a simple crash. And once we saw the camera footage, it started doing a history dump and going back through this guy's history about abuse and like I said, we ended up interviewing 3 of the kids. The children were like, we refused to get in the car with him. He drives into oncoming traffic to scare us, to get us doing what he wants us to do. And then people just started coming out of the woodwork about, hey, I won't get in the car with that guy. He's driven into oncoming traffic before. I mean, it's insane. I've never worked a case like this before. But this is what we do, and it's unfortunate, but I do appreciate your time, and I'll reach out to you sometime in the next few days, okay?
Okay, yeah, thank you for, doing you guys' job to, keep people like this off the streets, because it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, thank you again.
So I just want to
take care.
By the way, you're going to hear someone in the background. Listen.
You can email me.
Will do. Thank you, John.
Listen.
All right, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
That I've been a cop for 18.
Someone's in the background.
Who's in the background? Look, so you convinced John out of Rexing.
Thank you for keeping people like this,
by the way,
off the street.
You're talking to tech support of Rexing, and you're telling... By the way, I want to know, when did the children say they're scared to get in the car with him?
Wait a minute.
When did they say that?
Don't we have a Google Nest video that shows...
You literally have the whole forensic interview. They never said that.
I have a Google Nest video inside the apartment.
The kids are begging to go with him.
Begging to get into Mustafa's car. Wait a minute.
Are we talking about the same kids?
Don't you have DoorDash videos? Google. Don't you have the dash camera where Mustafa is DoorDashing?
And
why is that not uploaded to the police department server? Is that not exculpatory evidence?
And you want to talk about bias?
Wait a minute.
Bias. You want to talk about tampering with witnesses? You're literally tampering with a witness on your own body cam. And that's why Amy Ashworth and Judge Weimer sealed off this file. They sealed off that camera because what are the people going to think when they find out that Robert Drum is going around telling people, I mean, if I come up to you, Amar, if I come up to you and we see a random person in the street, you're just looking at him standing in front of a convenience store.
Especially if you're in a police uniform.
And I'm in a uniform, and I'm going to tell you, Amar, you see that guy? The other day, he was beating up a child, okay? And the week before that, he was beating up a woman, okay? And look at him standing right there, and he's free, okay? You're going to walk by him. What are you going to think of him?
Of course.
Okay? And now, Amar, I need you. I need you. He has court, and I kind of need you to testify about him. He's a very bad person. Unfortunately, I need your help to convince the community that he's a bad person. Even though you don't know anything, even though I just weaponized you, I need you, Amar, because to the community, it's going to look like 1, 2, 3, 4 people are saying the same thing. Okay? If I can get 4 of you and convince them that that guy beats up children, okay? And then I need you to come to court and I need you to just say it, okay? Just say what you observed. A child walks by, the guy looks at him and you're like, oh, look at the way he looked at him. I saw the way he looked at him, okay? That's what you're going to testify to. You're not lying.
So the police...
I mean, that's the game they're playing here.
The police weaponize the children before they walk them into a forensic interview. Literally, I have a forensic interview where the child is talking about that the police told me that Mustafa ran away, left my 5-year-old baby sister to bleed to death. And the police could have saved her if Mustafa didn't run away. Mustafa was in a coma. How could Mustafa run away if he's in a coma? The police lied to the children, walked them to a forensic interview, Weaponize them again. And now you have Robert Drum telling tech support, oh, you should listen to what the children are talking about. You weaponize the children against Mustafa. And now you're telling tech support, wait a minute, and you're talking about door dashing.
And Brad Haywood wants to protect this cop?
You're talking about the police. The kids are terrified from Mustafa. Wait a minute. Google Nest videos that the police and the prosecutor have avoided for 2.5 years. That shows the children in one video, in the Google Nest video inside the apartment, it shows the child is begging to go with Mustafa to get into his car.
Let me ask you this.
Wait a minute. You just said the children are terrified to go into his car. Wait a minute. Forget that. Don't you have Mustafa's dash camera that you're talking about on a separate body cam that's sealed? That we have Mustafa DoorDash. Wait a minute. With Dorothy. If you have Mustafa DoorDash and you want to talk about Mustafa's driving behavior, why have you not uploaded?
Why are you hiding it?
Why are you hiding that portion of the dash camera and it's not in Mustafa's server? It's not in the file. It's not in evidence.com. It's not in the police.
Evidence.
That's exculpatory evidence.
And they're withholding
because the minute you show the full dash camera is going to show that you're lying about Mustafa's driving. The minute you show the Google Nest video, it's going to show that you're lying about the children. The minute you show the body cams, when you talk to the children before you walk them to the forensic interview, is going to show that you weaponize them. And the problem here is that Brad Haywood already put all this in a Brady motion. So the question is, what are you doing taking the money knowing that this police department has it out for Mustafa?
And
what are you doing taking the money that the government gave you to hire an independent expert to extract that dash camera? You have an order to extract the full dash camera and the audio that the government has been hiding.
Where's your private investigator?
You're going to take it to the police department, give it to the prosecutor's independent expert?
Where's your private investigator?
How do you know that her independent expert is not already being
coached by the police?
Coached the same way this guy is being coached.
How do you know?
It's her independent expert.
It's her independent.
There's automatically a bias.
Yeah. He's going to come in to patch it up, to cover up for the cops. You think Douglas is going to come in to say Kathy Zimus lied, Robert Drum lied, Chad Mason lied? He's a former FBI agent. He's a former FBI agent, okay? What is he going to do? Of course he's going to fucking protect his own. You think he gives a fuck about a Mustafa? He doesn't care about Mustafa. He's going to protect his own, okay? So why not hire your own expert without a bias?
That's what Judge Weimer said. He said, wouldn't it make sense? The more experts, the better. You have your expert. The prosecutor has her expert.
Exactly.
He's like, no, Your Honor, I'm just going to give it to the prosecutor.
Yeah.
What deal did you make with this prosecutor? I mean, I don't have to sit here and accuse you of working for the prosecutor. Your
action shows you made a deal.
Now, wait a minute.
What was the deal?
Now, what I want to do, before we end the podcast, I want to talk about the pushback that Mustafa is getting from his own defense attorney, Brad Haywood, when he asked him about the hard drive, the 1 terabyte hard drive of Mustafa's cell phone dump. Why is Mustafa's
there a pushback?
Why is there a pushback? Why is Brad Haywood terrified to sit down with Mustafa and go over what's in Mustafa's cell phone?
And if you don't have time, the government is literally paying you for a private investigator who already got, by the way, $10,000. He already got $10,000. So you're a private investigator? He already got $10,000. $10,000. He couldn't sit down with Mustafa.
You're talking about Sam.
He couldn't sit down with Mustafa for 2-3 hours.
Sam gets $10,000 for doing what exactly? Jacking off? What did Sam do in the Mustafa Aljazairi?
Did he find out who Amy Hodson is? The same Amy Hodson?
He wouldn't talk to you about Amy.
The same Amy
Hodson?
He
would not talk to Mustafa.
That's on TikTok. Posting pictures of Mustafa's crash scene photos from the impound from Drum's camera. She's posting those photos before you got a hold of them.
You know, I'll tell you something really interesting.
Who is Amy Hodson? Who is Amy Hodson?
I'll tell you
something. She called the police department.
I'll tell you something really interesting. I listened to the Sam conversation, and you listened to the phone calls with Brad Haywood. Now, what's really interesting that's coming out of these phone calls and conversations, specifically with Sam. Let's talk about Sam. When you tell Sam about the text communication, the hard drive, you tell him, why is there so much pushback your client, Mustafa, is asking you to sit down with him and go over the hard drive. Mustafa needs to go through his cell phone communication between him and Dorothy, because it's going to show that it's a beautiful relationship. Dorothy cash apped him money. There was beautiful conversation between him and Dorothy.
She cash apped money that day, by the way, that moment.
The prosecutor is accusing Mustafa that he has what did Robert Drum say? That he has
abusive history.
What do you mean? Mustafa met Dorothy, a relationship, Mustafa's whole entire relationship with Dorothy is
no longer
than 3 months long. Wait a minute.
So it can't be that much data.
What are you talking about? Extensive domestic? There is no domestic history.
What domestic?
As a matter of fact,
report do you have?
What report do you have? Because I have the whole entire discovery, and there's nothing there. Wait a minute. I have the Google.
Actually, there is domestic abuse going on, but it's with Dorothy and her ex-husband.
And what they've done.
Dorothy and Glenn Ford.
And what they've done, everywhere where you find the ex-husband or the boyfriend, Glenn Ford,
insert Mustafa here.
What the fuck are we talking about?
You
supplemented Mustafa with Divine Jones and the ex-boyfriend, Glenn Ford. Wait a minute. I have a Google Nest video there that shows it's a beautiful relationship. But they want to look the other way, seal off the file. Now, I'll tell you something that's really interesting. This conversation that I listened to with Sam, when he's sitting down with your dad and you're sitting down with him, you asked him a very specific question. You told him, you don't want to go through the drive. You're the family. You're not. It's a sealed file. But your client, Mustafa, is entitled.
He's entitled to it.
It's a violation of his due process that he can't look at the evidence, that he can't. How is the government asking him to defend himself? You're going to charge him with a crime.
You're not only a crime, you're being charged with the most heinous crime.
And
that means you cannot leave a stone unturned. Okay?
And
this is your opportunity to go through the
evidence. You're going to block Mustafa from looking at the evidence to defend himself? That's a violation of due process. Sam tells you, because Mustafa wants to go through the text communication between him and Dorothy to show...
He should be able to go through that hard drive.
Okay. He wants to go through the text communication between his girlfriend and who is she texting. Now, the Commonwealth attorney is using a 16-year-old as a star witness. They're bringing her in. She doesn't live in the apartment. She
doesn't even know Mustafa.
She doesn't even know Mustafa. She lives with her dad.
She admits to not knowing Mustafa.
She admits that she doesn't even know Mustafa. She's separated by CPS before Mustafa even meets Dorothy. Separated by CPS with her mom. And she says something very specific in the interview, in the forensic interview, that her mother blocked her and she chose Mustafa over her. Now, we've done our digging. We've done our investigation. And we found out that this 16-year-old daughter is connected. Her dad works for a club owner out of Crystal City, a strip club, that has a major problem with Mustafa before Mustafa even met Dorothy.
You found out all that out?
Now,
if I didn't know any better, I would say you're the private investigator.
But you have Dr. Jackoff, Sam, the private investigator, getting $10,000, and he doesn't want to probe into...
$10,000 for what?
So wait a minute. He tells you, when you tell him, isn't this relevant? Because the prosecution is bringing the 16-year-old. I mean, it shows that, specifically when there is an audio of the ex-boyfriend, Glenn Ford, who says on a recorded line that this 16-year-old girl, Kylie Clapp, came up to him a month before the vehicle accident and asked him to murder Mustafa.
Did the private investigator ask you for that audio?
And I talked to, when I was talking, I'll tell you something.
Did he ask you for the
He
audio?
never asked me for the fucking audio. He never asked me for it. And I'll tell you, a red flag is when I was talking to Brad Haywood, and I'm telling him this information, a normal reaction would be like, I need to get my hand on this audio recording. He never asked for the audio.
Or how did you get this audio recording?
He never asked.
When was it recorded?
He's not interested. Now, when he's not interested, that's a red flag. Now, so Sam tells you that, Muhammad, this is not even relevant. Kylie, Glenn Ford, it's not even relevant. The children.
They're not testifying.
They're not testifying. We're fighting to get the children. Now that we know that they're weaponized against Mustafa by the police, we're fighting to get them off the case. Wait a minute. Brad Haywood, you've been on the case for a whole entire year. Every filing is now unsealed.
Have you filed a motion?
Once did you file a motion to show that you
to exclude?
So what is Sam talking about?
What is he talking about? I don't know.
He's bullshitting you. He's lying to you. He's lying to Mustafa. What they want to do on the last day, They want to tell you, oh, yeah, everybody's coming in. Did you fucking probe into the...
Oh, no, because we thought we weren't going to have them in the case.
What do you mean? You know, the credibility of the witnesses is very relevant here. When you're talking
Especially
about a police department, when you're talking about a police department that's weaponizing a 9, a 10, a 14, a 16, when you're talking about a 16 that's connected to someone that wants to kill Mustafa a month before Mustafa even meets Dorothy, what the fuck are we talking about? I think that's relevant.
By the way, the prosecutor
because it's going to show.
The prosecutor lied to the judge when she said she didn't know that.
Do you know why Mustafa is being charged with murder?
Why?
Okay, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, when you read the transcript and when you go through, I mean, for 2 years, she's been telling Judge Weimer, Your Honor, I have a witness that's going to come forward that's going to testify that Mustafa premeditated the killing of Dorothy and the 5-year-old baby. Well, the case is sealed, so you can't verify what this prosecutor is talking about.
This person is.
Well, now,
who is the star witness?
Well, now, according to the prosecutor, I'm in their server. When you read the filing, I'm in their server. It's not a secret that I've accessed the police department server, evidence.com. I mean, I'm so deep into their asshole.
Who's the star witness?
I'm so deep into their asshole, I'm coming out of their mouths, and I'm literally moving their lips for them. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I got into the server. I have the body cam of every single person that the prosecutor is bringing in. And one of them is Kylie Clapp. Now,
the same Kylie Clapp that says she doesn't know Mustafa, she never met him but once.
Kylie Clapp says Mustafa premeditated the murder of my mother. Wait a minute.
How?
Wait a minute. Wait, it gets to the best part. Were you there? Did you hear him say? She said, I wasn't there and I didn't hear him say that. What the fuck are you talking about? A witness that didn't see or hear anything. That's why the file is sealed. Because Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, for 2.5 years, has been telling Judge Weimer, I have a witness, Your Honor, but it's sealed. You can't verify it.
You talking about the same Kylie Clapp that prosecutor met with in private in September of 2023?
But she's telling the judge. But she's telling the judge, the minor, but she's telling the judge the only time they were talked to is inside the forensic interview, Your Honor. But she's meeting with a child, coaching this child, and is literally
she's coaching a child,
hiding that. That forensic interview blows a lid on this whole entire.
That's the definition of child abuse.
Now they can't charge Mustafa with murder because the file is all over the internet. The body cam is on there. It shows that your witnesses have lied.
You mean they can't bring Kylie Clapp again to the prosecutor's office and retrain her prior to trial as to what she's going to testify to? They can't do that anymore?
I mean, look,
how sad.
It's just sad. So
how sad.
They can't charge him with murder because they've been lying about him for 2.5 years.
They can't have a teaching session?
Look, you can't charge him with manslaughter because he did everything he can to avoid a vehicle
There's literally brake failure according to the county mechanic.
The county inspected Mustafa's car.
According to you, police department, according to you, there was brake failure. According to you, again, according to you, there's brake failure.
The computer.
I don't know how many times I can say it to make it more clear. According to the police department, there was brake failure. According to Mustafa, he says my car would not stop.
So what did they do?
Later, police say there's brake failure. According to the police.
So what did they do?
I don't know how else to say it.
So evidence showed that Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time. The dash camera show that he avoided every vehicle, made it to the 4th lane. The SUV, he's turning away from the SUV, from the vehicles. He's doing everything he can to avoid the vehicle accident.
Do you know how crazy that sounds?
He has brake failure. They inspected and they found brake failure. So what did they do now? They're bringing up Brad Haywood, and what he's doing, he's not reconstructing the accident because the minute you reconstruct it, it's going to show that this is a car accident.
You got to set the scene. You got to set the scene. Brad Haywood, and across from him is Chief of Police. Across from him is the City of Manassas Chief of Police, Amy Ashworth, medical examiner, all these officers in uniform, okay? And Brad Haywood is being asked, are you going to burn all of these people for one man? Is it worth it? You're going to destroy this town's judicial system. You're going to expose what goes on, the rot that goes on behind closed doors. You're going to expose it? Brad, you've been here for what? How long has he been practicing? 20 years? As a public defender?
As a public defender.
All you have to do is give us this one. Just give us this one. Okay? If you give us Mustafa, you're going to have a great future. Okay? Or you can fight and you can end up like Elaine Jarvis.
I mean, I guess
your choice.
I mean,
the choice is yours.
You know, I'll tell you. When I read the transcript, and I find in the transcript the previous defense attorney, I mean, the reason there is so much pushback by Brad Haywood to not sit down with Mustafa is go over the hard drive, 1 terabyte hard drive of the cell phone dump, because the police department downloaded Mustafa's cell phone, Dorsey's cell phone, and what Mustafa has on his cell phone is 2 apps. 1 app for the dash camera, 1 app for the Google Nest video. And you don't have to take
Alexa.
And Alexa. And this dash camera automatically uploads the dash camera to his cell phone. So when you have an officer, Chad Mason, who already testified to cutting and muting the dash camera, you already have the file, the original file, already on Mustafa's cell phone. So before that, Chad Mason got to the dash camera on the scene.
It's already on Mustafa's phone.
It's already on Mustafa's cell phone. I mean, the pushback.
That explains why it's on a separate hard drive, not linked to the server.
Now you're telling me, how do you know that? How do you know that the drive has the dash camera? Do me a favor. Let's go over to exhibit.
Let's look at what Blake Weiner said.
Blake
on the
Weiner,
record.
the previous defense attorney.
What he said on the record. Oh, you want me to put it up? Okay.
Yeah. The data extraction from multiple cell phones of the 2 individuals of this case who have passed, as well as, I believe, like a 3rd family phone. There might even be a 4th phone, but it's multiple cell phone, as well as, I believe, all of the data. Oh, I'm sorry. Also, one of the cell phones for my client, and also the data extraction from the dash camera that was part of this case in total. Off the top of my head, I believe the data extraction, it was large enough that it needed at least 1 terabyte hard drive for the Commonwealth to put the data.
And Brad Haywood, Sam, they're both ignoring this major fact. They're avoiding showing Mustafa what's in it. And by the way, when you ask them, have you looked at the data? No, we haven't looked at it. Did Blake look at the data? I didn't look at it because I mailed it to Elaine. Elaine, did you look at it? I didn't get a chance to look at it.
You listen to the phone call between me and Brad.
That's crazy.
When I asked him about the drive, this drive, he said he never looked in it. Why would you not look at it when
your client is being charged with murder?
The dash camera is literally on it. The untainted, untampered with dash camera. Google Nest videos on the dash camera. Text communications that's going to exonerate Mustafa is on.
And you haven't looked at it?
And you haven't. You've been on this case for the whole entire year, and you haven't looked at.
And you have a private investigator who got paid what, $10,000?
$10,000.
And he hasn't looked at it either. What's
and
going
just
on
by,
here?
and by the way,
I mean, if I didn't know any better, I would say you're purposefully avoiding this hard drive. Why are you ignoring this hard drive? What's about this hard drive that you're not I mean, just like the discovery file, this hard drive exists. Why are you looking at the discovery file and you're not looking at the hard drive? Especially when the prosecutor is making allegations of abuse. You're not, I mean, as a lawyer, okay, as just a random bystander, if you say A is abusing B and they're living together, wouldn't you say, I'd like to see their communications?
Wouldn't that be the first thing that you do?
Wouldn't that be the first thing you look at is the communications? And no one has ever looked at these communications? It almost sounds like they want to say, darn, I didn't get a chance to get to it. I didn't get a chance to get to it. Well, you have a private investigator that the government gave you to assist you in the case. I mean, what is Sam doing if he's not going through the hard drive?
Look,
if he's not probing into the fake witnesses that's been weaponized by the police department.
We're going to continue to get to know. Look, we're going to continue to get to know what is going on in the Mustafa Aljazairi case.
And I'll just say before you finish, this is not an attack.
Absolutely not.
On Brad Haywood.
Absolutely not.
But your actions have consequences. Okay, when you give the money that was granted for the defense, when you're giving that to the prosecutor, you're saying, might as well just take the defendant. I don't want him. I'm going to hand him to you. And I remember something that Elaine said to us when we first met her. She said, in court, you don't dare, as a lawyer, you don't dare give an inch to the opposition. You fight for every inch. You fight every damn chance you get. You fight for it. Every chance. You never let anything go. Okay? And that's how you win, because you don't let anything slide by. And you got a prosecutor who flat out lied to the judge when she said No one talked to the children, Your Honor. No one talked to the children except for the CAC, the Children Advocacy Center, when we have a fucking letter from the prosecutor, from Sarah Sammy, on the discovery file that says, I, with Jason O'Sullivan, met with Kylie Clapp, who's a minor. Literally, there's a letter by the prosecutor. And she's lying to the judge. And Brad Haywood is saying, I mean, when she looked at me, she winked, so I'm not gonna pursue it. I'm gonna let her slide. If you're gonna let things slide, you're not in the right position. Listen to Elaine. Listen to Elaine. Maybe don't do everything Elaine does, but listen to what she said when she says, you fight like hell for your client in court. And he's not fighting. He's not fighting. It looks like he gave up, honestly. I mean,
it looks like he got threatened. I mean, in court, he says, my client is innocent.
From the sounds of the last hearing, it looks like he just gave up.
Well, look,
he gave up.
Look, we're here to report on the Mustafa Aljazairi case.
We're trying to empower him to have a strong back.
We're going to report on the Mustafa Aljazairi case. We're going to continue to be objective. Julie Carey in this community with NBC4 is no longer doing her job. Originally, she reported on the case of Mustafa Aljazairi, and she told you what the police department has said about Mustafa Aljazairi. Now that the case has been unsealed, body cams document that show this is a vehicle accident, that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident, that the police found brake failure, that Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time, that the children have been weaponized. A 9, a 10, a 14, a 16 have been weaponized by the police department. Where is Julie Carey? The vehicle has been crushed and staged by the police department. Where is Julie Carey with NBC4? She's no longer reporting on this case. So we are doing our job through this podcast to report on the Mustafa Aljazairi case. We're not here to attack Blake. We're not here to attack, I said Blake, I'm still stuck with the Blake Weiner. We're not here to attack Brad Haywood. What we're doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi is we're bringing transparency.
We're asking questions.
If you're here to protect your client, we're going to report on it. If you're here to protect the prosecutor in the police department that falsified this case, we're going to report on it. You don't have to worry about me. The DOJ is unsealing the transcript in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. This channel is slowly growing and the community is tuning in. At the end of the day, this is a giant case in this community. And if you can do that to Mustafa, that if you can falsify a case, God help this community. This is not a safe community. The next time you call 911, the next time you call the police, you're going to get an officer that may falsify your case, that may redact and delete and remove evidence from your case.
And you might get an attorney.
And you might get an attorney.
To throw you under the bus.
And you might get an attorney.
And hide evidence.
A Brad Haywood that's willing to do the bidding of a police department, pretend and come out and pose as a public defender, as a lawyer that's here for the community, have a civil rights organization. I mean, Brad Haywood's civil rights organization is Justice Forward Virginia. Where is this organization from taking care of your client, Mustafa Aljazairi, who is dealing with a beating? They beat and abuse Mustafa inside the jail. Your client is literally dealing with compounding fractures that are healing improperly, deteriorating every day. You never got him a medical or examined your client. You have a video that Mustafa is getting carried unconscious from one cell into another cell. Instead, you avoid the reconstruction of his vehicle when evidence showed that he did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. You avoid, there's a judge order and the government gave you money. You haven't done a reconstruction on his vehicle. You avoid getting the dash camera and the audio. You avoid the extraction. The government gave you money to extract the audio in the dash camera. Instead, you give that money to the prosecutor. How does that make sense? You don't sit down with Mustafa and go over the cell phone dump, the drive that the government gave you. Why are you terrified to go over the drive with your client? Are you doing the bidding of the prosecutor? Your action is going to show this community what kind of lawyer you are in this community. And you don't have to worry about me exposing you or saying that you're a lawyer that works for a corrupt prosecutor or a police department protecting police officers that are corrupt. You don't have to worry about me. I am here to read the transcript inside the court. I'm in the court. I'm reading the transcript. I have the body cams, I have the discovery, I have the whole file that's been sealed from this community, and I've leaked it on the internet, and we get to talk about what you're doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. Now, you have a platform. You're on Twitter. You're active on Twitter. You're active on YouTube. You have a civil rights organization called Justice Forward Virginia, a YouTube channel that you claim that you have a civil rights organization. Now, you have an outlet. You can come out and talk about your client. Tell this community that this podcast is lying about you. This podcast, that you are here protecting your client. What you're hearing on this podcast is not true. You can do that. Not once did I hear you come out and talk about Mustafa. You say that your client is innocent. You say that your client has been abused inside the jail. Not once, Brad Haywood, do I have you go on your platform and fight for your client. Why am I fighting for your client for you? Wait a minute. Now, you're more than welcome to be on this podcast. You can come here. You can take the hot mic, have a seat, and let's have a conversation. I have the body cams. By the way, just because you're telling the judge inside the courts, whatever you tell the judge, it's an open transcript. The community is listening to what you do inside the courtroom. The community is watching. We are watching, and we're bringing transparency into the Mustafa Aljazairi case. And I hope you rethink what you're doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. If you thought this was just a walk in the park, that you're just going to come in, patch this up for the police department that's been falsifying the Mustafa Aljazairi case, I remind you, just because Julie Carey is not reporting on the Mustafa Aljazairi case, we are here and we are reporting on the Mustafa Aljazairi case. If you're doing good, if you're here for your client, we're going to tell the community what you're doing. And I'm just going to read your transcript. If you're patching this up for the police department, and if that's what you're doing for Mustafa, God help your other client. And this community is watching. The community is the deciding factor. I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm going to end the video with a video from Justice Forward for Virginia, Brad Haywood Civil Rights Organization. And you're going to hear, we're going to get to know who Brad Haywood is. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for being on this podcast. I want to thank Muhammad for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa, through the police body cam, we're going to step away from Judge Weimer for a little bit, and we're going to put Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Haywood, under the microscope.
In case of a flat tire on a busy day, in case of a dead battery on a lively morning, in case of a
Hi, Brad Haywood. Or
Great. Thank you very much for having me. It's a real honor to be here. So, as everyone was saying, my name is Brad Haywood. So, I currently... Great. Thank you very much for having me. It's a real honor to be here. So, as everyone was saying, my name is Brad Haywood. So, I currently only have one job. So, this is a new development for me. For the past 5 or 6 years, I've had really 2 full-time jobs as both the chief public defender for Arlington County and the city of Falls Church, and also the executive director for Justice Forward Virginia, which is a criminal justice reform advocacy group. I say I don't have the second full-time job anymore because I'm now a board member. We hired another executive director, so a little bit of a burden off of me, which has been refreshing. But of course, what do they say? Water always finds its level. So somebody who is a workaholic like me on these issues, I'm making myself busy regardless. But I just wanted to initially, there was a question about my background. I thought I would share that with you first. And also I just mentioned, I don't want to drone on here. I know you all probably have many questions about criminal justice reform locally, statewide, nationally. I'm happy at any point to stop and answer those questions. I often find that these sorts of events go better when they're a dialogue. But just to kick things off and let you know how I ended up where I am today. So I actually grew up, I was born in Michigan, but grew up in Northern Virginia. So I grew up in Great Falls. I went to Langley High School. Then I went off to University of Michigan. That's where my family is from. And a lot of us went to University of Michigan. Went there and I started thinking about my career. I knew I wanted to help people for a living. I actually had wanted to be a doctor when I was in undergrad. Then I checked my transcripts in my junior year, and I saw that I was really, really bad at science classes. And then it also dawned on me, I don't know, it hadn't dawned on me earlier, but it also dawned on me that I really hated them. And that's a pretty bad combination for a doctor when you both hate the thing you're going to be doing and you're really bad at it. So then I looked at like the other portions of my transcript, like philosophy classes and things like that. I'm like, oh, I'm really good at this. Like I barely even tried in those philosophy classes. I did real well. So I was kind of stubborn, but I pivoted towards becoming interested in the law. And actually, I think kids these days, I notice from like being a hiring manager for interns, I've noticed that kids these days they learn way more when they're in high school about future and like career plans and stuff. When I was growing up, I didn't know anything. I frankly didn't even know a lawyer could do good in the word. That sounds ridiculous, but until I was 20, 21 years old, I just thought lawyers were people who, whatever, they had a bad reputation for honesty and they cost a lot of money, so forth and so on. But I just had some life experiences, which obviously helped me grow up and learn how you can make a difference as an attorney.
If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed. Okay. If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case.